Hello Pisces, my name is Paul and this is Dove and Serpent Tarot. This is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask that you connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And if there is anything you need me to pray over or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. And remember, Pisces, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And that's very, very nice. 6 of Cups to begin. That is lovely energy. That is the realization of a desire, right? Of a kind of a wish almost, right? Well, let's see what's going on. Let's see what it is that we're trying to manifest here, right? These are really good feelings. We've got some air energy. Ooh. Ah, okay. Interesting, yeah. We've got the Fool, and we've got the Magus, the Magician. So we are going to have to do an I-Ching reading, so stay tuned for the I-Ching card. Because we have the Fool and we've got the Magus, technically we can do 2 I-Ching readings if we need them. But first let's select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is one random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot that we are just going to set aside. We'll put Mr. Ed right there on top. And we're not going to look at that card until the very end. Hopefully it will tie everything together and give us the confirmation that we need. Right. But we are doing something a little different here. If at any point during the reading you get an idea, a sense, a feeling of what that card is, I want you to put your answer in the comment section of this video. Okay? I'm trying to see if we can collectively raise our vibrations, if we can collectively tap into source, into spirit, and start discerning that mystery card together. Okay? But first things first, let's see what we've got. Major Arcana, 2 of them, Fool and Magus, 0 and 1, right? This is kind of, this is the 2 most fundamental, it's almost a yin and yang kind of thing. We have the 2 most fundamental, we have 1s and 0s, right? It's the basic language of creation, of manifestation. So I think we really have the potential here for very important developments in our life. Okay? We also have a little bit of fire energy. This is strength, this is commitment, this is resolve. Right? We've got the water, we've got the 2 and the 6 of Cups. So we have some good water energy. We have some air to deal with. Well, even the Fool is some air energy. Right? So right away, I'm getting this feeling because we have the Fool, which the Fool is an energy that doesn't really know itself, right? The Fool is just some very expansive, very undifferentiated energy, awareness, right? There's no self-awareness. There's no self-consciousness here. The Fool just wants to go out and experience everything and everyone, has no sense of time, has no sense of space, has no sense of consequences, just wants everything all at once, right? A little bit ignorant in that way, ignorant of what it truly wants, right? Other than everything, right? Can we narrow it down a little bit? So between this and the Swords cards, I get this feeling like we might need to get in touch with what we're truly kind of wanting here, right? Let's make sure we know exactly what we're after in this situation, okay? Because we start with the 6 and the 7, right? We've got a 6 of Cups right there, and the 6 of Cups is the fulfillment of that desire. Right? So we don't know exactly what we want, but we know what it's going to feel like when we get it. right? So maybe we need to work our way backwards a little bit. So to me with this 6, this is us kind of, we're in the winner's circle and we know how that's going to feel, right? And we want that fulfillment. We want that satisfaction. We want that harmony, that resonance. The 6 of Cups is also very much connection with the external world, right? It's the kind of experience we want in life, generally, usually, right? It's just, I want to feel like I have a lot of love and abundance within me, and that the world around me is giving me that right back, right? That I'm manifesting this just wonderful joy and bliss in my life because the world is resonating with me. We're in sync with the world, you know? Every moment is bliss. Every moment is a gift, and we really feel that, right? But I think we need the confidence. We need this 7 of Swords to, well, not be a 7 of Swords. We need it to resolve itself into an ace, really. I'm feeling like we're trying to figure out exactly the right path for us, right? To get the life that we want, the 6 of Cups. We're trying to stay on an ace. We're trying to walk that tightrope. We're trying to figure it out, but maybe there are these other smaller swords, which are just some other options, right? We're trying to just look straight ahead down our road, but we kind of see some other road signs here, and we think, God, maybe I should go that way. Maybe there's something better down that way. We're kind of being distracted, right? And I think we're trying to commit to one single thought, one single idea, one single truth, one path. And we're realizing that there are a lot more detours here. There's a lot more crossroads than we thought. You know, a lot more forks in the road, maybe. Kind of literally, they kind of look like forks, right? A lot of forks in the road. A lot of obstacles too. Maybe it seems that the path we're on is kind of more difficult than we thought it was going to be. There's a lot more risk to our, think about forks in the road, right? You could pop your tires. I know that's a pretty bad dad joke, but it just seems like it's not as smooth of a path as we were expecting. Okay. And a little bit of what I'm feeling too, because I keep going back to this Fool energy. We'll do our I-Ching card in a minute. I feel like that we might be attracting these swords. We might be acting as kind of almost a magnet here with this Fool energy. And all these other little swords are just kind of coming in and distracting us, because this Fool energy wants to expand and experience everything, is not very discerning. So it could be that we are really, we're associating with other people, other activities, other desires, thoughts, feelings that are draining our energy, because it's taking away from our commitment to this central sword, this Ace of Swords, right? So there's another reason here why the Fool needs to kind of figure out the path that they're walking, right? Because we're getting involved in too many things right now that we might be splitting our energy off into too many directions, like the 7 of Swords. This is kind of saying the effort that it would take to accomplish one thing tremendously, to get to this 6 of Cups, the commitment that you have, the focus that you need to achieve your goal, is being wasted by having too many. It's being spread out too thin, right? So I feel like we need to be a little more discerning, a little more strict, right? Here's the Princess of Swords. This is cutting things off that we we kind of don't, we don't have time for it right now. This is maybe saying, look, we got to slow down. We can't just accept everything that comes into our consciousness, like this Fool card would. Anything that comes into the Fool energy, it is intensely curious about, and it's going to be drawn in that direction. Right? The Fool is that energy that's easily distracted. The Fool wants to wander from one thing to the other, doesn't think about consequences, doesn't have to act respectfully or considerately. The Fool is the most inconsiderate of energies, because it not because it has any malice or ill will, because it just doesn't know any better. It just wants to expand. The air doesn't care if it's expanding right into a lit match or something. It's just going to keep going in every direction, unless there's something directing it. Right? Unless there's something that can contain it and push it in a certain direction, like a hot air balloon or something. Which might be what we see here with this 9 of Wands down beneath your general energy path of the Serpent here. This could be the direction, the containment, and the heat applied to the Fool energy, kind of like a hot air balloon, right? You got to have a little bit of fire to, you got to have a balloon that's capable of containing this much volume of air. And then we need to heat it up, and we need to be able to direct it in some manner, right? I think hot air balloons, I don't know if they have much of a steering apparatus. I think it's just kind of wherever the wind goes, right? I was on a hot air balloon once out in Napa Valley, and I think I remember the pilot saying that there was really no way to steer. You can control the kind of the elevation, but as far as steering goes, you have to know which way the wind's blowing, what time of day, and predict what it's going to do so that you can kind of get where you need to go and find a safe place to land, right? So it's not so much about directing the ship, but it's about knowing the existing patterns of the air, knowing the current, knowing which way the wind is blowing, right? In order to get yourself where you need to be. So it's, I think, a big indication that we have to know our own desires. We have to know where the patterns of our life are. We have to know which way the wind is blowing in our own life. Right? So that we can not fight against our natural changing interests, our natural fluctuations of passions and hobbies and interests and activities and, the things that we get involved with. Right? But knowing and being able to predict, well, okay, I know in a few hours I'm going to be hungry, so I can kind of navigate my day in such a way where I'll be able to eat in a few hours, right? Something like that. Because I feel like what we're doing, here's the Magus card, this is up above everything on the path of the dove. With this Magus card, we are following our will. We're following almost a fundamental force of creation here. Which doesn't mean that we have to always stay on that one ace of, I can't even do it, that we have to stand on this one ace of swords and only follow that path, right? Maybe this is the freedom that we're experiencing, right? The idea that it's only at the beginning stages of something, of your own growth, your own energy, where you have to just say, I'm only doing this, I'm staying on this path, and every other thing that comes my way, I'm going to ignore it, right? Well, maybe that's a good thing to do at the beginning, build up a little bit of willpower, right? But if we are trying to use our Mercury energy, our ones and zeros, right, to create our best life, it's almost like we've had a kind of spiritual realization in our lives. I wonder if we have. I wonder if that's why we have only the the 0 and the 1 cards, right? And what I mean now is that because you've achieved some level of initiation, of spiritual attainment, of, integration perhaps, that maybe we have the freedom now to explore all of these other swords. Knowing that it's not going to throw us off from our original plan here, which is to be up in this hot air balloon and to make progress and whatever, go wherever we're going. But we understand which way the wind blows. We understand the patterns in our life, so we can follow different interests, always with this underlying joy and bliss and harmony, because we're following our will. And maybe that means one day you are absolutely intensely focused on this, but in a few days, you're going to be really intensely focused on something else. Why is there something wrong with that? I don't think there is. I think that's what we're seeing here, is that there is nothing wrong with that, because we are in this hot air balloon and we know where we're going. We know where we're going to end up. But we have to know ourselves well enough to utilize the currents of air, the current of our thoughts, right? Allow yourself to follow your own rabbit holes, kind of thing, because we know we're going to end up at a certain place. Safe landing, this hot air balloon's going to come down, perfect, we'll have our picnic. But to get there, we usually think, well, I just have to plot a course, stay steady on the gas, and just go straight there. Beeline, I think in this case, it's not like that. I think you're allowing yourself the room to slow down a little bit, to just go with the breeze, go where your intuition, your spontaneity takes you. If it takes you into completely different realms of thought and activities and interests, follow that. Allow yourself to be led, with these currents of air, because the air is all about the mind, thoughts, interests, engaging intellectually with something, engaging in the sense of wonder. It's the Fool, but it's the Fool connecting with a certain thing, right? So I think that's why we maybe have to slow down a little bit here. And by getting in touch with this Six of Cups, this is the underlying feeling that's going to guide you. When we're when we're hooked onto a current of air, if you don't feel this Six of Cups about it, maybe it's not the right current for you. And you could change your elevation. Here we have with this 9, you have the strength to do this. And this is the strength that can say, no, this isn't for me. I'm going to jump onto a different thermal vent or whatever and go in a different direction. All part of this grand unified journey that is your life right now, right? This is very special. I don't think I've had a reading quite like this, where rather than being instructed to just concentrate, focus on your goals, it's saying, you know what your goal is. Allow yourself to jump on these different currents, go in different rabbit holes, different thermal vents, right? Follow your white rabbit, Follow your intuition. Follow the breeze, right? Let the Fool do a little bit of wandering. You're still there, kind of in control. You're still the pilot, right? The Fool is that hot air balloon. If you just let it go, it would just go. If you pop the balloon, the air would just dissipate completely. So we're still in control. We're still the pilot. You still have access to the thruster, the throttle for the elevation. As far as the direction goes, that's kind of up to your interest, right? That's up to your almost a whim kind of thing, right? I have a real sense of freedom in this reading. We do have Mercury up here, like we said, and this is your ability to concentrate. But Mercury is only as good as the light that is being shined through it. right? Only as good as the light that is being shined through it. And I think that light is going to change as you follow a little bit of these different currents of air, right? And here we have the Knight of Pentacles in the future position. Because even though we're in this kind of free-flowing air exploration kind of energy, you still have a goal. You still know what your future is going to be like. With the Knight of Pentacles, this is an energy that can look out at the horizon, has the spiritual vision to see what the future state is going to be. You know where you're going to land this hot air balloon and have your picnic. Because you've seen it. You've planned it. You have a destiny in mind, a destination in mind, right? So we know that we're allowed to make some detours. Go see the giant ball of yarn or whatever in that town way over there. You're going to get to your final destination eventually anyway. So I really like that. I think in the past, maybe this is where we started, where I kind of started this reading saying, well, we need to fight off some of these other interests, these other distractions. No, maybe that was what we used to do. But maybe now, this isn't about fighting off. It's about listening. Listen to where, here's the Knight of Swords. Listen to what your spirit and soul are telling you. Listen to that voice within you. That's the voice of God, goddess, deity, guardian angel, spirit guide, ancestor. You're being called in different directions for a reason, right? And it's the kind of, it's a very fundamental motif. The knight in search of the Holy Grail, right? You know that you're going to find it. We all know that the knight will find the Grail and bring it back to the Grail Castle, and, Montsalvat will be saved. But there are so many books that talk about all of the adventures in between, right? And they're all spiritually guided. Maybe there are more lessons for you to learn in different areas, more exploration to do. We have to listen to that, right? Rather than being so rigid with it, let's allow ourselves to explore. What are we being called toward? What are we being pulled toward? And why? You have the strength to not do it if you have a feeling that it's not meant for you, or there's, you're not getting this kind of this divine harmony vibe with it. We have the strength to change course, at least change the elevation, right? Get into a new level of the atmosphere where the current's going to go in a different direction, perhaps. Now, as far as this Two of Cups goes, this is in the position of what we don't want. And this is the obstacle, the fear, worry, concern. But before we get there, I almost forgot. We have to do our I-Ching card. And the I-Ching is going to be for the Fool and the Magus. We'll just do one. We're already at like 25 minutes for this reading. We'll just do one I-Ching card to cover both of these major arcana energies. And we'll see. One of these days I want to do a longer video with the I-Ching energies. I like using the cards, but I have different tricks up my sleeve too. I like using the yarrow stalks. I don't really use the coin method. I use the yarrow stalks. I use the beads, right? Different colored beads, because I have learned that the bead method, and I'm not a mathematician, I'm not a statistician, I don't know anything about numbers. The bead method more closely matches the probability of the yarrow stalks. So when I'm in a hurry and I can't use the yarrow stalks, I just use the beads. I have a little pouch with different colored beads in it. And anyway, for now we'll use the cards. Okay, these videos tend to get pretty long anyway. So I just wanted one, but Spirit gave me two, one for each of these major arcana. I did say that we could do two if we needed to. So we have enthusiasm. Fruitful to set up feudal lords and mobilize the armies. Enthusiasm. Well, that's just what we're talking about, right? If you feel these different currents of thought, of interest, of activities, these different thermal vents, right? The different currents of air, and you feel with this, Mercury can get enthusiastic, especially if there is this Six of Cups behind it. If you feel this kind of enthusiasm with any of these other paths or currents in your life, these other detours, explore that. Go with that, right? Fruitful to set up feudal lords and mobilize the army. It also says the energetic charge of enthusiasm can be used to set great things in motion. Use it wisely to expand, Fool energy, and enrich your experience by extending your network of support. So that could be exactly why we're being instructed to listen to what these different callings are, these different impulses and enthusiasms might be. Because that's how you're going to expand and enrich your experience. There's other skills, there's other things for you to learn and do in your overall path. And that's what I think we're talking about here. Marshal your resources, ready for future challenges, and to channel enthusiasm's strong, active power. What do you imagine? What inspires you? How can you use your enthusiasm constructively? Well, yes, because all of these detours are still on the road to your final destination. And you have to listen to your heart, to your soul, to let you know if this is a good, productive enthusiasm for you, or if it really is just kind of an unwanted distraction, right? We have to listen. We have to know the difference here. Okay, now for the Fool, we have arguing. There is truth and confidence blocked, vigilant and centered good fortune, ending pitfall, fruitful to see great people, fruitless to cross the great river. So this is arguing. Now with the Fool, things are not always as they should be, so you argue for what you need, sustenance, to be believed, or for justice, but in defiant frustration, the creative flow is blocked. Open your heart to the potential for change and a higher perspective. Consult with someone wiser or outside the conflict. What are you arguing for? If you can't win this one, what else can you do? Well, the arguing, see, we were talking about the Fool now as being this kind of, this freedom, this expansiveness, in contrast to this Princess of Swords. Maybe the Princess of Swords was doing the arguing, was trying to resist all of these different paths, or what were originally called distractions, right? Maybe the Fool is the correction of that. Maybe we're not arguing, we're not trying to fight it. Now we're exploring it. Now we're letting our enthusiasm and our interests and our sense of wonder and of wandering, we're letting it expand, right? So we're not arguing anymore. Open your heart to the potential for change, right? We see potential for change, or the confidence to go down these different avenues, these different paths and detours, different thermal vents, the confidence to do that. Open your heart to the potential for change and a higher perspective. This is the power that we need to change our elevation, to get that higher perspective, right? So when we're done with one of these thermal vents, we just hit the throttle and the thruster, we go higher and higher. We can kind of put that into perspective as we then look out horizontally for what adventures are before us now. Everything else is below us. We can see it better. So we'll understand the reason why all of these things are taking place once we get to a higher level. I-Ching never fails. Never fails. Now, back to what I was talking about with the Two of Cups. This is the very simple idea, I think, that our obstacle here is our Holy Grail being two rather than one. There is only one Holy Grail. There is only one destination that this Knight of Pentacles is going toward. So the obstacle here is that in all of this adventuring, questing, and these different thermal vents and currents and rabbit holes and whatever, that we might be conflating them for our ultimate, or conflating them with our ultimate goal, our true spiritual will, our Ace of Cups, right? So I don't think this is a problem, but I think in your mind this is the worry that by having all of these other interests, am I losing sight of that Ace? Because now my will, my interests, my path is seemingly split up, right? Not just two, the two gives birth to the three gives birth to the 10,000 things, right? So by getting off of that strict, rigid, goal-oriented focus that we were on before, maybe there's a slight worry there, slight hesitation, because then we feel like we're just kind of creating a mess, that we're splitting ourselves up into a million different wills, different intentions, right? But this is the obstacle. That's the fear and the worry. The worry is that if we don't remain rigidly fixed to our one path, that we're going to just be lost in multitude, right? But the very next card here is the Two of Swords, and this is saying, look, don't overthink it. You got to use your intuition. You got to feel, right? This is the moon in Libra. The 7 here, this is the moon in Aquarius. So we have that lunar connection, that intuitive, it's a higher perception, right? It's a deeper sensitivity than just our 5 kind of external senses, right? It's the 6th interior sense. We've got to feel that feeling to know. It's not something that we need to rationalize. See here, this is the 2 rather than a 1. So rather than saying, well, hey, because I'm kind of off my main path and I'm going on this kind of detour, does that mean that I've lost my way? Does that mean that I'm not focused on doing my will or reaching my goal? No, it doesn't mean that. We can't look at it that way. Just because there are a million different roads, it's all one system. It's all one, like all roads lead to Rome, essentially, you know? But it's our mind that is going to see two things and think those are two things. It's logical, right? How else could you describe that? We can't try, right? That's the problem here. Because it seems so obvious. I have a thing there and a thing there. Those are two things. There's no denying that, right? So we have to transcend that making the difference intellectually, right, in our mind. We need to use that lunar energy here to see, to feel what we're doing. Let's look at the mystery card now. I know this reading is going long. They've been getting longer and longer. Okay, so this is the point of the reading where I'll ask you to try to connect with these cards and with these images. I'll switch the camera back. If you want to take a moment, try to raise your vibrations. Let's see what this card is. Pause the video if you want. I'll go ahead and try to think of this thing too. I'm definitely getting a major arcana vibe. I don't know. Well, you know, maybe I'm getting like a 4 of Wands. I'm seeing a circular image. I don't think it'll be, I guess it could be a 6 of something. No, I'm sticking with the major. I'm going to say this Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune. That takes the best from all of the kind of number 6, you know, all of this kind of wheel formation, all of this circular symbolism. Yeah, so go ahead and put your final answers in. I'm going to reveal this card now. Oh, yes. Wheel of Fortune. Because the Wheel of Fortune, to me, really does kind of match up with the Fool. The Fool is expanding in all directions, wandering around kind of aimlessly, but there is a purpose in all of it, right? This is the kind of energy that wanders around aimlessly, right? With no sense of direction. But somehow, at the end of the story, finds its way to where it was meant to be, right? Somehow, magically, it just gets there, whether it's to the Holy Grail or, I think there's an episode of The Office even that was kind of like that. Wandering around with really no idea what we're doing. But somehow we make it. Somehow we get there. The Wheel of Fortune, to me, is kind of like that as well. It's expansive. It's some Jupiter energy, right? And Jupiter rules this cycle of readings on this channel, which, of course, is ending today with this Pisces reading. We'll be moving on to Saturn for the next round of readings. This is expansion, but in a way that is has an underlying focus to it, right? Has a sense of destiny, a sense of timing. The Fool doesn't know that. The Fool just wanders around. Somehow things happen at the right time, the right place, right? But this Jupiter energy, the Wheel of Fortune, this is all about divine timing. And even if we feel like we're kind of getting off trail here, it's okay. It's all part of the timing. You're right where you're supposed to be right now. This is the cosmic wristwatch. This is Spirit's timepiece. And sometimes we may feel like we're just kind of wandering around like a fool, not focused, not doing anything that's contributing to our goal, but we are. But we're in our head about it, and our head is thinking, and even our heart sometimes is thinking, two things here must be a lack of unity. Well, there is a unity. This is one reality. This is one truth. This is one goal. This is one kind of final destination. This is a good confirmation. And it's the Wheel of Fortune. It's saying everything is happening exactly as it should be, and everything is going to be successful and abundant. We're going to reach our goals. But let's have a good time in this hot air balloon, And let's use the tools that are here. No sense trying to kind of paddle through the air to stay on course. We have to learn how to ride those currents of air and, do all that sort of stuff. So I think this is a fine confirmation card. We're going to do an extended. If you want to stick around, click either above or below in the video description. New readings for Pisces every Monday and Thursday at 6 a.m. Chicago time. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. I want to thank you for watching this reading all the way through until the end. And I want you to remember that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you, and I love you, and we are all in this together.